Step one in our 9-step method is strategy to supercharge success. Strategy is important in finance transformation, but it's also very important from a CSRD perspective. And in fact, CSRD requires you to disclose particular things on your business strategy. You must show an accurate, complete, and fair representation of your business model and the value chain. So what do we actually mean by that? So accurate, you need to ensure that all the reported information is precise and free from errors. And that means that your data sources need to be reliable and that you verified that you are taking accurately the data through the process. Complete. Well, you need, of course, to be comprehensive. You can't cherry pick which information you share or not. So all the relevant aspects, whether it's environmental, social, or governance, all need to be included. And fair representation is presenting the information in a balanced and an unbiased manner. So all concepts that are familiar to us from the auditing of financial reporting, but now we're applying them in the ESG space as well. So that's what the strategy disclosures are related to. But let's talk a bit about risks and opportunities, also relevant at this stage in the process.
I'm going to, for now, focus on 3 different risks. We have a chronic physical risk, we have acute physical risk, and we have transition risk. Just to give a flavor of what they are, so the chronic physical risk, that could be, for example, change in air temperature, heat waves, wind, things like that. Think about the summers in certain parts of the world are getting increasingly hot. The acute physical risk, for example, wildfire. Think about the dreadful what happened in Southern California very recently. Transition risk is the last one. And that could be have increased cost of raw materials, for example, change in customer behavior, and so forth. For various companies, of course, this is part of your scoping, so not all risk will be equally applicable.
Going to talk about risks. So if you manage them well, you're protecting your current business for sure. The other side of it is really the opportunity, and that's the really exciting part, right? Yeah. And I think if I try to break it down simply, maybe look at the opportunities probably from 3 lenses. One is, very simply, by doing sustainable initiatives in your company, you actually will improve your operations. So for example, usually in driving decarbonization initiatives, that leads to improved energy and operation efficiencies. So that means you have a lower operational cost. Then the next pillar of it is what we obviously term the business growth. It needs to apply creative thinking, because you are really looking at your business model, your pricing model, and trying to understand how you can change that to be more creative in driving your pricing mechanism, basically as a capital for your investment, but also to increase the revenue margin for your company when you try to price it based on value. And the value is more than just the products that people get, because it's a green product as well. And then the third pillar is strategic positioning. More and more financing companies, for example, when they do consider a loan, they are looking at ESG requirements. Yeah. So if your company is really, doing the right thing, positioned well, have a very transparent ESG reporting, for example, that gives them a very good basis to say, yeah, you're the right candidate for our loan, right? So that's one. And obviously, the other aspects about the strategic positioning is brand. So as we know, brand is everything. Customer perception, partners' perception is everything. So by doing it right, you are also creating that brand recognition.
I mean, in the end, companies, they need to understand their strategy when it comes to ESG internally, so they can start doing the right things from a value creation perspective, but they also need to understand it well enough that they can disclose externally the critical elements of it. And it's also the first of the 9 steps So it sets the scene for what comes next in our method.